Aloha, my name is Alex Wong. I am currently a student at Johns Hopkins University in the Masters of GIS program. I'd like to run through a quick overview of my County of Kauai Emergency Management Map Portal. I created this as a final project for a summer course in GIS for Emergency Management. Okay, so here's the map portal. Basically, it was generated by taking a group in ArcGIS Online and sharing it as a map portal application. So all of the web mapping applications that were included in the group were then basically exported as a application for web apps and gallery. Okay, so basically the important part I like to make note of is that this is example only. This is for a simulation for GIS management for the County of Kauai. This is not to be used for any real life events. Okay, so basically I'll just run down this list of the 7 web mapping applications that I created for this class. The first one is Impact Summary Map for the County of Kauai. If you click the eye symbol next to each thumbnail, it will pull up the information, basically describing the purpose, the audience, map contents, base map operational layers, and your access and use constraints. Like I said before, this is for student use only, never for real-world use. If you click this symbol right here, it'll launch the application. So I'm going to pretend to click it here. I already have it pulled up right here in this tab. So basically, this web map will allow the user to click on. Let me zoom in here. You can click on a layer. In this case, the special flood hazard area, and it will tell you total population, seniors, total households, and households with an income level below the poverty level. And this is basically the social vulnerability index that was kind of cross-referenced with the special flood hazard area to show people in the emergency management project which areas are of highest concern in the flood zones. So as you can see on the left column, we have our map legend, which tells you the flood zone type, and then by using your cursor you can actually click and see the demographics and the household data within each flood zone type. This is important and can be referenced in the Susan Cutter publications that discuss social vulnerability and hazards and emergency management, and basically the correlation between these 3 factors. Other things to point out on this map and in the legend, we have hospitals, police stations, fire stations, airports called out, and basically the user who is using this can click on any of these points, and the pop-ups have been configured to give the basic information for whatever is the point of interest. So we have hospitals here, and it goes down with the nitty-gritty. Also for this map, the user can turn on and off any of these layers on the side. A lot of this information I took from several of the websites, the emergency management websites that we've been working with throughout the course. We have schools, colleges, universities, cell towers, nationally registered bridges, and then you can also turn off certain layers in order to get a better, clearer view of what might be going on. So here's the bridges. At first look, you can see it has the street or the route number, the feature that the bridge will cross over or intersect in any sort of dimension. It also has the vertical clearance. In this case, this bridge doesn't have any upper beams in the structures, so there is no vertical clearance. The length and the number of lanes of traffic in each direction. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Let's go back to this one. The next map would be Public Information Map for Flood Hazards in the County of Kauai. This is Module 12. Let's close the Impact Summary map. Public Information Map. Here we go. Now this map is geared more towards the public, and the public being able to utilize this map. It calls out emergency shelters. It has a live feed map, live feed layer data of the traffic on all of the main roads. And then, in order to set this map up, I generated an incident zone where the potential or the simulated incident has occurred. In this case, it's a flooding incident. And this map can be edited by whoever has permissions, and the permissions can be shared privately with anyone else in the emergency management team. However, this map is supposed to be viewed by public, and this is for public access. Okay. Again, layers can be turned on and off by the user, whoever is using this, public or emergency management team. And an important aspect that this has is also the US National Grid layer, which can be used to quickly identify specific locations on the island. Also has information about hospitals and other points of interest. Okay. The next one is the Citizen Storms Report for Lihue. That is the main town center on Kauai. And the Citizen Storms Report is actually a VGI, a volunteer geographic information style geoform. And basically, this is the form that is intended to be shared with the public. The public can fill out the form with whatever information they come across out in the field or out while they're on the roads or walking around. For this one, I thought it was a good idea for whoever is reporting this to be able to select whether or not they're able to find a detour or an alternate route. Specialized equipment basically means if in their judgment they think that any large vehicles, bulldozer, backhoe, any specialized equipment will be needed to clean up the area or to mitigate whatever hazard or immediate danger there is in the area that they've come across. They also can report their name, contact information, and then the date and time in which they reported the event. And one of the most important aspects or features is that they can attach a photo that they take of the site that they see. And then the nice thing about this feature is if it's being used on a mobile device out in the field, a smartphone or etc., they can locate their pinpoint their location using their GPS in their phone or the mobile device. Then, or another way to do it is to actually add a location if they are familiar with how to use a map or a web map. They can actually drop a pin for where their location is and then submit their entry. Okay. The next one is Hawaiian Islands Pu'u'o'o volcanic eruption and lava flow. This is a FEMA declared disaster event. I originally wanted to do Koke'e fire that happened last year, 2015, on the island of Kauai, but there was not any available data on the internet, and unfortunately, DLNR and DOFA, Department of Fish and Wildlife, they were very slow to get back to me in terms of providing GIS information. So I actually decided to do one on Hawaii instead, and the lava flow that affected the town of Pahoa in the Puna district on the east side back in 2014-2015. And it actually destroyed a few houses, residences, and it was, as I said, declared a disaster event by FEMA, and money was allocated to meet the disaster needs. So I'm very proud of this story map journal. Story map journal is one way to provide a history and some more detailed background about a emergency management event, a disaster event, and for educational purposes. So I have YouTube videos embedded, hyperlinks embedded that will lead the user to the website where the information came from, where the images came from. I have FEMA information, which includes monetary amounts, dates, times, news from both recorded USGS website, from the Hawaii Volcanic Observatory, and also the FEMA website that kind of tracked the disaster event. Unfortunately, there was no GIS data for the lava flow towards the town of Pahoa, so actually I georeferenced one of the maps that USGS made, and I overlaid it onto ArcGIS, and then I basically traced it and created my own polygons for this one. So yes, go ahead and take a look at this one. It'll be up on my group and in the map portal, and go ahead and learn about not only the history of the 2014-2015 event, but actually there's a more historical event which affected a town that is now abandoned, called Kalapana, and this town was completely wiped out by a lava flow back in 1990. Very interesting story, also a very sad story for the local residents who lived there. Okay, moving on. The next one is the damage assessment dashboard for flooding on Lihue, Kauai. This is again the main town in Kauai. And for the damage assessment one, basically there's this sidebar that calculates a sum total of all of the damage based on commercial structure, residential structure, so housing, and public facilities. So for my example, I dropped a pin for a bridge, the Puali Stream Bridge, and this is an example of a public facility. And so it keeps a running total. The threshold is an example of a monetary threshold where federal funds or state disaster funds or a combination of the two need to be brought in to address and alleviate the local situation in order to clean up or provide any aid for management. And then the count here is just a tally of how many features are added to the map. And this is this one is the audience is emergency management team, of course. Okay, last map, situational awareness for flood hazard in Lihue. And this one is more geared towards an incident zone. The legend can be pulled up over here, as well as the layers. This is more for the emergency management team and planning purposes. We have example evacuation shelters, first aid, and camp, barriers, road closures, and then also some live feed updates. And then also for this one, you can turn the layers on and off. And then quickly, the last thing before I go, Lihue Kauai Mapbook. You can download the PDF. It has all the paper maps in USNG form. And that's my presentation. Mahalo nui and aloha.